I said, that's kind of interesting. I hope that doesn't happen. I can't see that happening, but just in case, I will start a company in the internet side of the job, or start a job board. And being that our executive search firm was completely in the insurance industry, we started a company called Great Insurance Jobs, and went live with that in 2001. Yeah, it's called wondering. A lot of people, anybody that went through that period of time when the internet first came on board, and people were like saying, "Is that really going to work? What is this thing? What is happening?" The folks that really knew that today the internet would be as strong as it would be, that were preaching that. I was very lucky to meet some very talented people back then that said, "Hey, these are the types of things that are going to take place." And Great Insurance Jobs was one of the things that we created out of that.
That's very cool. Very, very cool. Why did you decide to start OrlandoJobs.com?
Well, once we got into Great Insurance Jobs, started in 2001, and all along, that's a national site, and all along where our businesses are in Orlando, Florida, and the guy that had the domain name OrlandoJobs.com, I met him at a networking event one day, and I kept asking him for the next couple of years, "Hey, if you ever want to sell that domain name, let me know." And one day he called me out of the blue, and I was able to purchase that domain name from him. He ran that site, but something with Tony took place that he had to sell it. And even though he sold it for quite a large, he did okay. Let's put it that way on the domain sale, but. We were able to take that and then create OrlandoJobs.com, kind of on the, since we already had about 4 years in the job board business, it was kind of a natural fit. But what was interesting about Orlando was, since it was in our backyard, we were able to do a lot more things to build that site, not only from an advertising and so forth, but we were able to actually meet so many of our clients and job seekers by all the events and things that we end up doing.
I do remember going to different community events and still going to community events and just seeing that bright orange sign, OrlandoJobs.com, and just making the impact in the community, just having the conversation, encouraging people to become engaged with the site, and just how personable your team is.
Well, that's good to hear, and the bright orange it's hard to get away with. And being a Florida State Seminole, and one of my business partner Scott's a Gator, it's being orange and blue in the Orlando Jobs was a tough pill to start with, but no, it really does. It really helps our branding. It helps it stand out.
Fabulous. Roger, you're very involved in the community, sharing employment resources in different ways. What are a few outcomes that you aim to accomplish at each event?
We do a variety of events in Central Florida, and we know that job seekers are everywhere, as well as employers are everywhere. So we'll do job fairs, we'll do the typical booths and meet a lot of the job seekers that way, but we also like to do events like the Downtown Pour, where there's they close off streets in downtown, and we'll have a booth there, and we'll introduce people to Orlando Jobs and things like that. We just like to be in so many areas that we know we can connect a job seeker to our resource, because we know that there's a lot of jobs on our resource that they may be interested in that they won't ever be able to find anywhere else. And the only way we can do that is by getting out, networking in the community, understanding that when we go to an event, the takeaway for us is getting job seekers involved with our website or get them to know that it even exists. But even more importantly, we feel like we just enjoy meeting people, and we're a website company, but I remind my staff all the time. I tell them, we're really not a website company. We're a people company, and the only way we can be a people company is to actually go shake people's hands. And that's really what the secret sauce is, and you have to do that outside the office.
Well, I love that secret sauce. That's awesome. Awesome.
Yeah, good stuff.
It is good stuff. You have to connect with people. Connection is everything. Like, it's great to have social media. It's great to post and like, but it's great to have that face-to-face, eyeball-to-eyeball interaction.
Yeah, well, it's a complete competitive advantage, and we don't mind telling people what what we do. We know, because we know most companies won't do what we do, because it takes a lot of bandwidth to be able to do it.
How did you go about successfully establishing your HR partnerships locally and nationally?
Well, that's establishing HR partnerships and partnerships just in general with anybody that you want to do business with is really just identifying the need of your partners of what the actual transaction will be. And it's a very sensitive issue with a lot of different organizations out there to align themselves with a employment for-profit, I might add, job board, and be able to deliver what it is that they need in return. And the partnerships that we have are set up so they're win-win for both parties. For instance, we have a local partnership with the local Human Resource Association, Go SHRM, and not only do we give their members discounts and things like that on our site, but we power their HR section and job section on their website, and and it's mobile friendly. They would never be able to have that type of technology over there without a big cost. And as a matter of fact, it doesn't cost them anything to do any of that stuff. But they have an outstanding a website with HR and recruiting jobs and stuff like that are very, very distinct to their organization. So with national partners, it's even more tricky. But the bottom line with partnerships is, they want to be in most partners of ours don't have time to take care of the career side of their association. They have membership, and they usually do whatever it is that they're doing. For instance, the Workers' Comp Institute on our Great Insurance side, they do everything under the sun for workers' comp, but they don't deal with people's careers. They don't have time to do that. So we can fill that void for them and not only provide the technology, but provide a lot of information on the job markets and things like that they require.
Fabulous. What are a few confidence-boosting tips that you've seen candidates have success in while interviewing? Yes,
great question. The number one confidence-boosting tip that I have seen is, I tell job seekers all the time, don't listen to your family, your neighbors, and your friends on how you should be interviewing, and don't go to the internet and look at interview questions and try to program yourself to answer them. You need to go into an interview with one thing in mind, understanding what the job is that is available that you're interviewing for, and how your skill sets relate directly to that job and directly to the bottom line. If you understand what that is, you will never have a problem interviewing. And if you practice anything in an interview situation, it is to identify the skill sets you bring to the job that's there and exactly what it means if you're an A player, what that means to the bottom line profitability of the company that you're working for. And when I say profitability, this goes from nonprofits to for-profit companies. Most individuals answer questions with a blank stare in their face. And if you have the skill sets that match the job you're interviewing for, you're going to do very well by bringing out all those skills and tie them directly to the bottom line of the company. And what I would also tell a job seeker is, and to gain confidence in an interview, is to be able to talk normally, sit up straight, talk normally to the interviewee, because they want to have that same conversation with you. There is no wall between you two, between the interviewer and so forth. No matter what they ask you, no matter what they do, your enthusiasm that you speak with, because you know that your skill sets are good for the job, that's what happens. Most candidates cannot answer the easiest questions in the interview process when it comes to jobs. And I don't know if you've seen that, Michelle, but you ask them a question, and one of my favorite interview questions of all time are, tell me about a project that you did at your last job, what it was, what the final result was, and what could you have done better. And when I ask that question, and I could ask it to anybody in any job out there, and they won't be, I get probably 80% of the time not a blank stare, but just it confuses them. They're not sure what they should be saying. And the bottom line is you have a skill set, you've been able to perform it. What was that performance like? Where did it get you? And the good, the bad, and the ugly, and what could you have done better? And I'm going to tell you, the people that can answer that question, it really is the usually the better candidate. So, does that help?
Yes, and I totally agree. How do you accomplish being fully present in your personal life and not letting work impede that time?
Well, you have to have a very understanding family, first of all, and secondly, it is for anybody that runs businesses and is involved in the community, it's virtually impossible to time manage properly and without letting somebody down. Whether it's your family, whether it's a board that you sit on, whether it's an employee event, whether it's a business meeting, whether it's just taking time off to go to the beach. And I find that one of the most challenging things in my life. And as I've gotten older, the way I have been able to walk away from business, or walk away from freeing up some time to attend school events with the kids, or go to a function at some event that we go to, or whatever the case might be, is to realize the stuff that's on my desk presently will probably be there the next day, and I'll just have to pick it up then, unless it's something that's completely urgent. And there's just never a time where there won't be any work on the desk. And before it was just like, I got to get this done. And now it's just like, all right, well, I'm going to prioritize a little bit better, and then I'm going to do some of these other things. And believe it or not, it all works out somehow. I don't know how, but it does.
It does. But I thank you for sharing that perspective, because I think professionals need to be reminded of that sometimes, or just need to hear it. Just could be that aha moment in that moment for those who might listen. Yeah. So that's awesome.
It's awkward, but I can tell you there is no answer to that question with business owners, just because you do have a lot of things that you have to deal with, not only employees and all that other stuff, but you're going to miss things. It's virtually impossible not to do it. And thankfully, technology has cleared up a lot of things, with being able to control a lot of stuff from your phones these days, whereas years ago you couldn't do any of that stuff. You had to be sitting in an office. So.
The progression of business operations.
Yeah. Truly.
What professional lesson would you repeat that made you a better and sharper professional today?
Training, and then talking and training with people that have been there, done that. It's that simple. There are too many consultants and professionals that have never, ever, ever been in your situation, not only as a business owner, but as a recruiter, as a job board owner, and so forth. So you have to surround yourself with professionals. I get called, and I use this analogy all the time because it's the greatest analogy in the world to me, is I get called by a stockbroker who wants to sell me a stock on the telephone. And I'll say to him, hey, tell me about, do you have $1 million portfolio yourself personally in the marketplace? And will you share that with me? And 9 out of 10 of them will say absolutely not. And or I won't share it with you, or I don't, and so forth. And my question always is, well, why is that? Because if you are so good at what you do, why don't you invest in the things you talk about? Bad advice will put you backwards. And it's so true in business. You know, you have to seek out very, very professional individuals that are do exactly what you do, that have a proven track record of success. And those are the folks that you want to meet and talk to. And those are also the same people that if you call them on the phone out of the blue and you tell them what you're up to, not only will they usually bend over backwards for you, but you'll create a tremendous friendship and bond, because a lot of people do like to help others, especially successful people. No question about it.
Great advice. Love it. Love it. Do you have a favorite candidate or employer story that keeps you motivated and adding value to the employment industry?
That's a loaded question, Rita. Oh, that's a loaded question. We just did my favorite thing in the world is being original and trying to fit individuals that may not have the perfect background into a job and that they could never get on their own, and watching them become very successful because somebody believed in what myself or someone in my organization presented as in form of a person, and we really like to watch that. We just had a really good example that we did a veterans job fair a couple weeks ago, and it was actually for homeless veterans as well as regular veterans. We had over 21 homeless veterans attend, and we worked with all the different facilities in town and whatnot. And Kelly Services hired one of the homeless vets on a part-time. And I'm going to tell you, that's what keeps us going. Those are the types of stories that are just phenomenal, because there's a lot of great people out there that are unemployed, underemployed, or don't understand how to get full employment for many reasons. And it's usually not skill set or desire. It's just the communication to the employer and all those hoops they have to jump through to get those jobs. And I think when myself or people in my organization can help through those hoops and make the connection, that's what keeps us going, for sure.
That's a great share. That's a really great share.
Good. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, yep. It is. That's the deal.
That's a great share.
Thank you.
How do you incorporate healthy choices into your day?
The thing about health is that's all you have in life is your health. You know, if you lose your health, you don't have anything. Money, nothing, success. There's nothing replaces a healthy body. And for people that, for anybody, but stress is an absolute killer. And for me, the only stress release I have is by activity. And so we do a couple of things here. We try to get each week we do a walk from an off. We take the whole company. We do a couple-mile walk in the middle of the day to break up the day, and that always is kind of fun. But we have a basketball league. We do a lot of corporate 5Ks and things like that at our office. Personally, I play on a couple different basketball leagues, and just ended up running my first half marathon this year. So that was pretty fun.
Congratulations!
I don't know if I'll do it again, but it was that was a lot of fun. But they all, anything that allows you to work up a little bit of a sweat, and most of the things are somewhat competitive still as well. But it really does help with the stress, and stress, in my opinion, is the one thing that is not only very unhealthy, but it is the one thing that can make you underperform, because work is work, and it's hard to separate. Everybody gets so wound up, and at the end of the day, it's if you can understand that most of the stress that you have isn't even real. It's made up in your own mind. You kind of get through a lot of these things, and exercise is really the way I do it. So that's how that goes.
Okay. Roger, what's next for OrlandoJobs.com and GreatInsuranceJobs.com?
Well, the greatest news for those websites are we are going through a major change in the way people get jobs these days. And technology is going to always be king, and it's how job seekers use and find that technology. Right now, the number one job website in the world is Indeed.com. And it has theoretically every job that you could ever possibly find, and candidates have a really good time going over there and figuring that out. And what we have to do as an organization is understand that we'll never be able to compete with Indeed.com. We will be our own job board like we've always been, and not only will we be more prevalent in the communities that we serve and the niches that we serve, we will own those niches and have unique and Google-proof type jobs, meaning if you don't go to Orlando Jobs or Great Insurance Jobs, you'll be missing out on jobs that the Indeeds and these monster sites will never get, because they don't have the customer service or the ability to serve a marketplace. They can just broadcast everything and hope something falls in. We'll have jobs, which we've always done anyway from the beginning of time, and that's really what our secret sauce are. We have more natural job postings than I think most any company out there, any job board out there for our niches, and we're very excited to take that to the next level. The other thing, too, is just to make it we're very mobile friendly now, but we're even going to take it up even a better notch and then have our dream job application app where a job seeker will be able to put in a very specific, I would like to be a graphic designer in downtown Orlando making $80,000 a year. If this job ever comes up, please get me that job. And if that job ever gets posted on our site, it'll light up their phone like a Christmas tree. And it'll be the dream job that they've been looking for, and they'll have the first crack at it because they'll be the one that gets its purse up. So a lot of fun things coming up. But at the end of the day, it really is being a authority in your niche in Orlando. It's Orlando Jobs in the insurance industry. It's insurance. We're going to be opening up Miami Jobs this year, MiamiJobs.com. We're over in Tampa and Jacksonville already, and we're very, very excited about the growth of what we're trying to ascertain. So it's exciting.
Yes, it is exciting, and congratulations for all the amazing growth. That's awesome.
Well, yeah, it's stressful, but hey, there's a basketball game out there. So
it's worthy work. It is definitely worthy work. That is just, I think it's awesome.
So that's what we got. That's what we have.
Roger, please share how listeners can get in touch with you.
It's very simple. They can email me at roger@OrlandoJobs.com, ROGER. So there we go. That's the best way.
Okay, awesome.
And you can find me, Michelle Beatty, at CareerTipper.com. Please subscribe and follow the podcast on Spotify, iTunes, and Stitcher Radio. You can also find me on Instagram and Facebook at Career Tipper and Twitter at Career Tipper 1. Thanks for listening.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of the Career Tipper Podcast. We're grateful for our listeners and guests. For more resources about how to evolve to your professional best, share your comments and feedback about this episode and your suggestions for future guests, visit CareerTipper.com. Until next time, be confidently you.